How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Do you want your daily dose of Hopium? Well, I have it here for you today. I'm going to show you some charts that are very bullish over the long term. And if you're sitting there thinking, well, I don't care about the long term, tell me about why we're down right now. Why aren't we moving? Well, I did a couple of videos on that yesterday, so go check those out. They're super relevant still today. But if you're sitting there thinking, okay, I can wait the next 6 months, I can wait the next year, where are we going? I have that dirty Hopium for you, the black market Hopium. We'll get to that in a bit in the video. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this. Also, there's a link underneath the video to Margex in case you want to trade cryptocurrency. If you're bullish after this or bearish after this, or you just want to trade cryptocurrency based on TA and you're not bullish or bearish, but you're just playing the charts, there's a link underneath the video to Margex. I have a guide coming out here very soon on how to leverage trade or what leverage trading is. So be on the lookout for that so you can hit subscribe to see that video. Also, if you want a ticket to Bitcoin Vegas, there's a link underneath the video and a 10% off code. The tickets are much cheaper now than they will be in a year. They increase the prices up to about 3x where they're at right now. Let's start here. Gold's hitting new all-time highs. Okay, interesting. Gold is hitting all-time highs while Bitcoin is just kind of puttering around, right? You zoom out and Bitcoin's been at 67,000, 72,000, back up, down. But gold has looked really strong. All of 2024, you can see big move up from 2,000 to 2,400, up to 2,500. So yeah, it's made a big move. Now, I think it is important to remember, even though it's at all-time highs, since the beginning of the year, gold is up less than 25%. Now, Bitcoin is up much more than that. Let's just look up BTC. Bitcoin price. This will give us what we need. Bitcoin's up 31%. And if you take it from when we were at like 40,000, I mean, it's up even more than that. It's up almost 50%. To the peak, it was up 83%. So it went up almost 100% within a month or two, a couple months. So yes, we're still seeing a big move. People will be talking about this, talk about how gold's outperforming. Peter Schiff is talking about how gold is moving up with tech stocks, but Bitcoin stays down. And we talked about why that is yesterday. A mixture of liquidations, a mixture of overhangs that have happened where we had a lot of entities that just dumped a lot of Bitcoin. So even if there's good news happening, well, if someone goes and dumps a bunch of Bitcoin at one time, that can overshadow the good news. And you can see, yeah, even over the last, let's call it 8 years, gold's gone up about 150%. If you compare that to Bitcoin, it's nothing. Let's actually look at this is something interesting that I don't think I've seen other people really talk about. Maybe Benjamin Cohen, the Bitcoin versus gold price. BTC USD divided by gold. As you can see here, it looks eerily similar to the Bitcoin chart. Obviously, it just doesn't match up exactly. Like we hit a new all-time high in terms of price on Bitcoin this cycle, but here it doesn't show that. It shows we were actually just at 34, again, price of Bitcoin to gold. So 34x versus a 37 last cycle. So we still have not hit an all-time high on the Bitcoin to gold chart, which, you could take as bullish because last cycle, we went from 16 up to 37. So basically 2.5x. If we did that again, Bitcoin's price would go up to, let's just do the math here. I'll do it on my calculator. 2.5 times 37. It'd move up to, let's call it 90 on this chart. Way up here. And that would be if we got a similar return to the last cycle. Now, 90 times that 2,500 for gold would put us around $225,000 Bitcoin. Very similar to what a lot of people are projecting based on previous cycles for USD value as well. But yeah, it is extremely bullish. If you went based on the cycle before this, where the price of Bitcoin to gold was 1 and went up to 16, it'd be a much larger increase here. But of course, you have to take this with a grain of salt. This is This is not the Hopium, by the way. This is not the Hopium. Here is the Hopium for you. Thomas, heyapollo.com says, who needs to see this? This is the cycle, right? 2011, down. 2012, consolidation. 2012, moves up. 2013, blow off top. Same thing here. Down, sideways, up, way up, down. Up a little bit this time. Up a little bit this time. Then up again. 2022, down. 2023, slightly up. 2024, we're only partway through the year, halfway through the year. This is usually the second best part of the bull run. And then, 2025 would be the pico, the mega peak where we move up aggressively. So yeah, I mean, we're halfway through one of the good years, but it doesn't necessarily always go up in this year. Like in 2020, you can see we went up and then fell down drastically. Then took the rest of the year pretty much to get back up to the previous peak, and then we moved into the next bull run. So we can see big dips, we can see big moves to the downside in this year, but typically this year and the next year are always very good for Bitcoin. Now, of course, a lot of it does have to come down to what we see from the broader economy, but things are looking up. James Van Stratton says, Bitcoin recorded a negative 7% funding rate last night, the third largest reading in the past 365 days. That's nuts. Basically what that means is there are a lot of people going short. There are a lot of people shorting the market that will get liquidated if we move up, which means the price of Bitcoin shoots up. So I would not be surprised to see some very explosive moves from Bitcoin. And manipulators usually like to force out the large positions, right? So if there are a lot of people shorting the market, they like the market to go up. So it shoots and destroys all those shorts. If there are a lot of longs, then they like to push the market down. So London Crypto says, when were the other two, James? James Van Stratton says, May 2 and April 22nd. Feel comfortable calling a bottom at 55 to 56. So James Van Stratton, who is very well thought of in the crypto space, he's the lead analyst over at Crypto Slate. He says, bottom at 55 or 56,000. Okay, there's more for you. On average, Bitcoin peaks 480 days after the halving. We're currently 117 days after the Bitcoin halving. So we're not even close to the end of the market. Typically, we are 8% of the way into the next halving. So keep in mind, 40 years from now, we're going through this all again, and we're going to be probably at a much higher price. There are also a bunch of institutions buying, 30% increase in institutional Bitcoin ETF holders versus Q1, 44% of institutional holders increase their Bitcoin ETFs in Q2. Hedge funds remain the biggest institutional players. There's so many things I could point to, so many reasons to invest in Bitcoin, be excited about Bitcoin, but some people just don't care because the price isn't moving up. But as I have said, if everything looks better, if we continue to get good news, and there are just some overhangs that we have to deal with, like if we just get past those little issues, right? Germany selling a bunch of Bitcoin, Mt. Gox distributing Bitcoin, exchanges blowing up from a couple of years ago and still not redistributing money or, selling off coins and stuff like that. If we can get past that, then it's all blue skies ahead. Now, the key is, again, if everything improves and the price just doesn't go up, that is a blessing, if you want to call it that, right? That is a good thing. If everything's better, like, again, let's say you have a rental property and all of a sudden there's another rental property next to yours that's up for sale, and you think, maybe I want to buy it, maybe I don't, but all of a sudden politicians in your area start giving you bigger tax write-offs for your property. We know that there's a big institutional investor that wants to buy up properties in the area, and all of a sudden everything improves, right? Everything improves, yet the price of that house for sale doesn't go up. It actually goes down a little bit, and you could buy a second house and it's a better value than it was a couple weeks ago. Are you going to be pissed off because the one house that you have isn't worth quite as much? No, you're probably going to be excited because you can go buy that other property. Or you can just sit there and think, wow, well, this property that I own looks a lot better, right? I have more tax write-offs. I know that there are people that want to buy this house that are going to come and try to buy this house, big institutions. So I'm just going to sit on it. And that's where I think we are essentially with Bitcoin, right? Price hasn't budged, but we've had a lot of good news from politicians that want to possibly buy Bitcoin or hold Bitcoin. We have good news from institutions who are basically saying, hey, we're buying all this Bitcoin that we can. Now, it's been a little bit back and forth over the last couple months. There have been inflows and outflows, but what we can see when you zoom out is a lot of institutions still buying, a lot of new institutions still buying, a lot of institutions adding to their positions through the Bitcoin ETFs, and yet the price hasn't budged. Right? And I could name off 10 other bullish catalysts that have happened, but I don't think we need that because it just shows everything is getting better except for the price. As soon as the price goes up, everyone's going to be excited again, even if there weren't a lot of things that have changed. Let me know your thoughts on this underneath the video, though. Let me know if this was enough hopium for you, or if you need me to do another video tomorrow. Of course, price can be volatile short term, so be careful, be ready. If you do want to trade crypto, there's the link underneath the video to Margex. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.